This is Tim.
I'm Mulele.
And this is Critiquing Comics. Welcome to Critiquing Comics. This is Tim with Mulele in Tokyo on Skype. And yeah, we haven't done this in a while because we didn't have any comics and also I didn't have any time. So, but we were sent a comic and we found the time to critique it. And so here we are. Now, so this comic, I'm having a little trouble figuring out how to pronounce it. Zener. Is that Zener or Zener?
Tomato.
I mean, if it had two E's, it would be Zener. If it had two N's, it would be Zener. As it is with one of each, I'm not sure. Although, calling it Zener, I mean, it rhymes with wiener, so it doesn't sound very good for a superhero. It just, I don't think it works as a name.
Sorry, man, right off the bat, you're just like, Zener rhymes with wiener. I mean, my mind did not go there.
Well, even before I quite put those together, it just felt wrong to me as a superhero name. And thinking about why, I said, oh, that's why. Zener might be a little better, but I don't know. I'd like to know why the creators chose that name. So this is the 0 issue. Sort of the prequel to an upcoming series from NRG Comics, written by Webb Blaynet, drawn and lettered by Juan Pablo Mananita, edited by Alex Daw. So yeah, it's Zener or Zener, Master of the Mind.
I'm sorry, real quick. I believe the name of the comic company is Energy.
Yeah, they spell it out as NRG, but yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to take from it, Energy.
Yeah.
The story starts out with a superhero battle that turns out to be in a movie that the main characters are watching. The superhero in the movie is Soul Man, which took me the second time to read it to realize that was a pun. Because, the guy is this like Shaft-like guy who's a superhero, but the soul is S-O-L, the sun, and he has sun powers. So that's why he's a soul man, not because he has a lot of soul, although he might have that too. And Soul Man is fighting against Night Sovereign. And so the main characters, or two of the main characters, Diego and Sasha, who are on a date, come out, and Sasha enjoyed it, but Diego says, well, it doesn't really have much power now that our world has a real superhero called Empress, who works in some other city. And they're saying goodbye to each other, and suddenly a purple monster starts jumping around town and causes some rubble to fall where Diego and Sasha are. Now, Diego just jumps out of the way and doesn't seem interested in saving Sasha, which seemed like a bad move to me. The comic doesn't comment on it. They're both fine, but a car gets crushed. Then Zener or Zener shows up. He also has purple in his costume. So there's some kind of a purple thing going on here. Purple and white costume. And as the title tells us, he's a master of the mind. So I guess that's how he knows Diego's name and tells him that he needs to get out of there, which of course Diego doesn't. And in the battle, he is injured and knocked unconscious. He wakes up in a lab with these guys named, well, one guy is Salvatore, who turns out to be Zener or Zener, and a guy named Dr. Steele, which I'm sure it wasn't intended as a Devo reference, but that was the first thing I thought of.
Sorry, which was the Devo reference?
So there's a Devo song called Speed Racer, where it's going through these several different characters, and one is Dr. Steele, Dr. Steele, and here's your bill. He likes to steal, so here's your bill. So I thought of Speed Racer when I saw that, but probably unintentional. So Steele says some of Diego's bones in his limbs are crushed and the limbs need to be amputated. And so, of course, they bring in some, I don't know if it's a robot, seems to be some kind of a robot who comes in and does the surgery without any anesthesia or anesthetic. Like, why not? Somehow there's some cachet to have going through a lot of pain to getting your powers.
But did you look at that X-ray? If that were his bones, he'd be dead. I mean, his spine is severed in several places. I mean, geez, and all of the connective ribs and even his forearms, they're just. But he's like, hey, what's going on, buddies? Hey, where am I? Who are you?
Yeah,
like,
he
should
be in tons of pain even before the surgery starts.
Yeah,
assuming he's alive.
I would say he'd be like 2 seconds away from flatlining, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the X-ray sort of looked like he had severe osteoporosis, but
yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end we've got while this horrible surgery is going on, Salvatore is saying that Diego is strong with the aptitude. And Salvatore wishes that he had gone after that purple monster 10 years ago and that the monster has emerged victorious. And that's the end of this sort of prequel to the upcoming series. So I thought it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It's sort of somewhere in the middle. The art is kind of stiff. It's serviceable, I guess. What did you think?
Wow, man, you're pulling the punches. Yeah, I think the artwork is a little stiff at times, but it's very clean. And he does a lot with what he has. But I would say it is kind of quickly rendered, because there's not a lot of attention to architecture or to
the environment, the surroundings.
The environments seem a little bit perfunctory. They're not really drawn, and in some cases they just don't make sense to me. The way they're drawn. There are just a couple of shots here and there where that happens, but for the most part, it's like, well. I guess this is what it is. Although the right hand on the main character on the cover, or the only character on the cover, is a little bit anatomically off to me.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It is a little bit distracting when he does clenched fists from the sides. Same thing happens on page 9, but. I think that's just an ism for the artist to kind of work out. And as far as the pacing of the comic, whether it's the fault of the writer or the way the artist kind of cut the scene together, there are lots of places where you lose track of the girlfriend. They lose track of her 3 times. And the last time they're like, oh, don't know what happened to her. See ya. And that's kind of the end of the issue. But it's kind of the movie idea was interesting. The movie intro was interesting in the 1980s. But I think by this point, if you're just going to do that as a segue into the reality, and then I think the idea was just to say that, okay, in this world there are superhero films just like the real world, but there are also superheroes, or at least there's one superhero. It's a waste of real estate, and it seems like the rest of the story suffers because of that, because we do lose track of the girlfriend. There isn't enough detail to really warrant a second read of this comic, not in the script, not in the art. So in that sense, it's really the baseline of what it needs to achieve in this issue, and nothing more. There are no wasted lines. There are no asides to interesting things. Remember that comic? I can't remember the name of the comic. Sorry, but there was this one character, like a scientist character, that does something for the hero, and then the hero goes off and does the mission. But we follow the scientist character, and he or she goes back to their apartment and then watches a movie and then eats cup noodle or some shit like that. But it just kind of goes, and it's all done in half a page of like just 20 little panels, just kind of detailing what happened to this person.
Oh, and yeah.
I lost my shit. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, and it was very fresh to me. I really, really liked that one because it had nothing to do with the story, but it's just an odd kind of like, well, what do other people do when the hero goes off and fights? I loved it. I praised it on the podcast. The writer got back to us and said that he loved it. We loved it. And I wanted to see more of that shit. Haven't heard from that writer recently. If you're out there listening, please send us something soon. I need some good comics.
Look up what that was. I kind of remember it, but I'm blanking on any proper nouns here.
It was from the creator of Holy Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the comic that they sent us Holy Fuck 1 and 2, and then they sent this one. And I forget the name of the new one, but same writer. And I think different artist, though. So, I mean, on that level, there's nothing here that builds the world. We're just with the characters in this very plain background, and even the costumes of the characters aren't really expressing what the characters are about. Except we got this guy with an open shirt and a snake tattoo. Looks like a belt wrapped around his body. And then we walk into what I guess is his living room, and every bit of artwork is something to do with snakes, all the way down to Hebi being written in katakana on a wall as a wall painting. It's like, yeah, no.
Okay, I've been looking it up here. So the writer you're thinking of is Nick Marino. And he and Daniel Arudamasa had sent us a comic called Teenage Mutant Ninja Pizza.
That's it.
Yeah, that we talked about in episode 131.
I love that comic, and I love that bit in that comic. And that comic has what this comic does not have. And it's just a sense of humor about itself. This comic takes itself very seriously, and it kind of pulls me out of it. Because if you're gonna make a comic this way, and it's kind of sloppy, I should say, in the way it handles itself, it should also be a little bit humorous about that. You should be able to wink at the camera and say, it's a thing, roll with it. But this one is like, no, we're serious. This is serious comics, and we are making something really, you have to pay attention here. But I'm not feeling it.
But yeah, you're right about the girlfriend. So we see her after the rubble. The rubble falling doesn't seem to affect her at all. She's just standing there right behind where the rubble fell.
Yeah, I think it just fell between them.
Yeah, but she's so close to it. You think she would have run for cover.
Yeah.
But we see her then on page 8, and then there's fight on 9 and 10, and then 11, suddenly she's there again, and she's running into the building.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, there's not much background in most of those panels in between, and, yeah, where is she?
Yeah, so it's kind of a tricky thing to do, but how many things can your shot explain in that one panel? So, for example, if he had sorry, scroll back a bit, page number 13. Yeah, so on page number 12, the girlfriend is there. Then we have the fight. We lose track a little bit because a lot of close-ups and outside shots. And then when we get back to page 13, we show the boyfriend running and jumping and trying to get over some stairs that have kind of fallen. If those stair shots had included a picture of the girl the girlfriend either, come on, you can make it, or ignoring him and running towards her mother because, fuck that, that's just a boyfriend. I'm about my family.
Her mother lives in that building. She's going up to see her.
So if there had been some sort of two-shot where you're not just like, okay, he's jumping, okay, he just barely is making it. No, he's jumping because his girlfriend is on the other side, or he just barely made it, but his girlfriend has already started running off, and we can kind of see her in the distance, and she's not noticing that he's barely making it. Then there adds a bit of dramatic tension, and also it kind of keeps place of it keeps the figures in context, which is I think what we lost here. And beyond that, it also sets up the value of the relationship that he has with his girlfriend, other than we went to a movie together, with an implication that we're fucking, and another implication that I know your mother because I'm running into the building to save your mother with you. It's more than implied. It's shown, because the fact that she leaves him there, doesn't try to, hey, come on, I got you, come on, and okay, now that you're saved from that dangerous situation, let's go get my mother.
Yeah, she's like, wait here, I'm gonna go talk to my mom.
Well, it's a statement saying you have value and I need you to do this thing. Come save my mother with me. Mm-hmm. But as it is, we kind of don't know, because it seems like it got lost. But if we could see that she did say, yeah, later for you, I'm about to save my mother, that's also a statement on the value of the relationship. But neither is made. Mm-hmm. And so it seems to be missing those kinds of moments in this book. Yeah. Now, if it is made just with the idea of the classic, there's the bad guy, go fight, and the relationship stuff is not really necessary, sure. But the mother is kind of treated like a video game character, like a princess that needs to be saved.
Yeah, she doesn't have any agency of her own. She's just sitting up there in the building while the superhero battle is going on.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like later on, between the mother and daughter and the boyfriend, another bit of debris falls in between them, and that's the end. When he wakes up, or doesn't wake up, when he's found, the mother and daughter are gone, and he's crushed under some shit. It's like, he's dead. Fuck him. Let's get out of here. And that's, again, it's just too random.
Yeah, there's a panel of them on page 17, the mother and daughter with rubble falling on them. Yeah. But we never see them again in this issue.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's just too many details that are just missing. So if they fix this stuff later, fine. But if we're just receiving this and we're buying just this, we have to be a fan of the artwork, because the story is not compelling enough. It doesn't offer enough to pull us in. There's no hook here. Because who did what and why? We have only one of those three. Because we really don't know what they're doing or why.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, that there's no hook. When there's, it just feels like kind of a generic superhero story.
Yeah, but generic to the point where it falls below the threshold of what we've seen before. Because if this were a Silver Age comic, it would still have a little bit more to it. Or even a Golden Age comic, I don't know.
And also, I was a little confused at the very end. So this Salvatore says, I arrived too late today to intervene in the fight. In a sense, I was 10 years too late. I should have gotten directly involved from the moment I realized how dangerous that monster was. Now 134 people are dead because how does he know?
But he doesn't know where the girlfriend is.
Well, he was counting people as they died. Now 134 people are dead because it went rampaging around Indigo Valley. Perhaps if it had been defeated, their deaths might have at least had purpose. Unfortunately for everyone, it was the monster who emerged victorious. So, At first I was confused if he meant that the monster won 10 years ago or today. Surely he must mean today.
Yeah.
But if the monster is victorious, then why is he hanging around in his living room? It doesn't seem like what he should be doing.
It also seems like the death count would still be rising.
Yeah. Although the picture is showing us the monster lying unconscious and Zener standing over him. So it doesn't look like the monster was victorious unless he means that he's the monster or something has possessed him. I don't know. That's possible, but
I have a feeling that there's going to be a bit of a reversal in that sense that, this guy is creating monsters to go fight these evil heroes. I don't know. The monsters are sloppy, so they look like they're destroying everything, but the heroes are the ones that need to be stopped because they're actually evil without actually destroying anything. I don't know. But it's just there's too much of it's too all over the place for me to go like, okay, this is it. I see what's going on here, and I'm down. Give me another 30 issues. It's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between wanting to know what happens next and being confused.
Yeah.
And I'm more confused at the end of this and not really compelled to read more.
Yeah, I hate to say it that way, but I'm kind of the same. Although I have to say, as much as I call out the line work, I'd say the coloring is superb. There's one other point I have to call out, and I hate to say this because the artist and the letterer are the same, but the letterer used a small I for I and a capital letter I for all other words, regardless of where they are in the sentence. And that's just a little weird.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
The just vertical line up and down is supposed to be for anything other than the personal pronoun.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to have the serifs for the personal pronoun. But yeah, it's, well, the opposite in a lot of cases, but I do see on page 22 an in that has the just simple I. So it's not even consistent.
Yeah, which kind of implies that he was trying to do a thing here, which makes me just think, okay, what kind of fuckery is this? So I unless he's saying in is the first letter of that sentence, and that's why.
Well,
it's
okay, I
like
guess
that,
it's
because that's capitalized.
I's that are capital. That's how it is. Because in the next panel he says Indigo Valley, and it's a simple I. But and so apparently the serifed I is typed in as a lowercase I.
Yeah.
But maybe that's something that you just have to know how to type it. But the serifed I should only be for the personal pronoun.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, a little off. Check some comics by major companies, and you'll see they're pretty tight on that shit, because I had to do that when I was working with Dark Horse, and they were very, very, very detailed about that kind of stuff, because people like us, assholes like us, would just say, hey, what is this? What kind of fucker is this?
Serifs. Get those serifs out of there.
Yeah, it's like, man, the story was good, but I didn't like the comic because the serifs are fucked, man. Fuck these guys. But there are a lot of people who would say that. So, if he's trying to do some sort of tricky shit here, we're different because we reversed it. No, that's not a thing. Stop it.
Yeah.
But, that's about it.
But, I do see what you mean about the coloring. Yeah, the coloring is nice.
Yeah. And there are some effects around the art that really help to pull the art into focus. And there's nothing too glaringly what happened here. There's nothing like that.
I could follow the story for the most part, but except that the girlfriend disappears. But
well, no, I'm just talking about the colorist. The colorist, the way the colorist did the job. For example, page number 8, the last panel.
Mm-hmm.
Those building shadows on the glass are the work of the colorist, not of the illustrator.
Yeah.
And it really adds a lot of depth to the picture itself.
Yeah, it does. It looks good.
Yeah, and so that kind of stuff tells me that the colorist knows what they're doing and they're working it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, me too. If anyone else has a comic they'd like us to critique, you could send a PDF or a link to mail@deconstructingcomics.com, and we'll read at least 30 pages of it and critique it here on the show. So, until next time, this is Tim.
I'm Mulele.
And thanks for listening to Critiquing Comics.